Welcome back to the 12 Talk podcast, the UK Seahawkers official podcast. My name's Josh. This here, my co-host is Mitch, and we've got a very special guest tonight. We have got Charlie Wilson, who is, I've got to get the newspaper right, he is the NFL reporter for the Daily Mirror US Sports. Did I do it?
You nailed it, mate.
Yes, there you go. So we're going to be talking about a few things. This is our Draft Crushes episode. It's episode 3. So previously we've had Dan Viens, we've Bryce Coots. Now we've got Charlie returning. Always great insight. We're going to be discussing a couple of things just beforehand. I had a little train of thought the other day and started checking. Why are there no Seahawks contracted beyond 2027? We'll dive into that. We've also got Charlie's top 5 draft prospects, and we haven't had any of these yet, so it's really exciting. And we're going to finish it up with a mock. So join us, stick with us, put your comments in there, and we'll see you on the other side of this. There we go, back in the game. We're going to bring Charlie in a minute. But for anyone who is joining us, if you're new to the channel, please feel free to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Really helps us, helps the algorithm. And also, if you are watching, jump in the comments. We'll try and put as many up as possible. Now, Mitch, how are you doing?
Yeah, well, I'm in a dark room. There we go. There we go.
There you go.
How
See
about
your
that?
face now.
That'd be like, yeah, no, very good, mate. Very good. Everything is rosy at the minute, and we're getting closer to the draft, which is my favourite time of year, as you know. And I get to talk the draft with you fine gentlemen and put a mock together, and what could be better, man?
I know. What a Thursday, hey? I mean, for us, it's Thursday night. For our US viewers and listeners, it's Thursday daytime. But yeah, it's been a good week. I've been working from home all week with a puppy in tow. So I'm getting my steps up, which is really nice. Although I'm currently spending an absolute fortune on treats, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. Persevere. Short-term pain, long-term
Welcome
gain.
to Labradors, my dude. There's going to be a lot of treats. But yeah, it's going to be a nice, smooth ride, I think, training that dog, because anything for a treat, honestly.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to speaking to Charlie. But before we do, now, as most of you will be aware, we are the official podcast of the UK Seahawkers. Very, very proud and very excited because the countdown is on. If you want to become a UK Seahawker, it's £12 for an annual membership for an individual, £20 for a family of up to 4 people at the same address. If you're outside the UK, it's £5 postage per membership. You get some fantastic goodies. You get access to game day field passes, 10% off at the pro shop, and much, much more. Every year, we get some lovely goodies. I've changed the photo. Mitch is the one you sent me. This year, we've got 2 lovely coasters, of which I've currently got here. My drink is on the other one. We got our badge as well, our patch to put on your jersey or your jacket, whatever, your membership card and your wristband. And you also get access to our meetups. Glasgow, 3rd of May, we will be there. We are going to be rocking the pod, and we've got some RCT goodies that we're going to be giving away as well. Thank you very much to our charity sponsor, or charity partner even. If you want to join your UK Seahawker, it's £5. Get yourself to Glasgow. You'll meet all the rest of the UK Seahawkers, and it'll be a great time. A few beers, a few shots of Fireball, groggy heads the next day, and some of us a flight, some of us a train. And as always, Seahawk of the Month is back. Keep checking your inboxes. If you've got a Seahawk of the Month, make sure you tell your chapter president. They'll collate them all and send them to the head council. And we are very proud to still support the Robbing Cancer Trust. Here it is. There's Toby in his giant ball bag. Or for our German listeners or watchers, his Großballtüte. There you go. 5 years living in Germany. And that's what I learned. But Toby is currently running 500k dressed as a ball bag, and his one goal is to save lives, and he wants to raise £240,000. If you see Toby running anywhere in a half marathon, a marathon, give him a high five, give him a drink, tell him that you listen to the pod. He'll be greatly appreciative, and we're greatly appreciative. You can use hashtag talking bollocks. You can use hashtag overreacting or not overreacting, and at Toby Talks Bollocks if you want to follow him as well. But Mitch, should we bring on our guest?
Can't wait. Let's do it.
Looking forward to this one. Here he is, Charlie. Charlie Wilson, you're back.
Good evening, guys. How are we doing?
Better now you're here, sir.
Always better. A good time.
Yeah.
Isn't this a hat trick as well? I think this is third time.
I think so. I think it was is it the third year in a row or third time on the podcast? I'm not sure, but it's definitely been at least 3 times. I'll tell you that. And it's I just want to say it's been cool to see how this platform has grown over the last 2 years or so. I'm in a Discord chat, which I like to hop in every now and again and give a few hot takes or rants about the Seahawks. Sometimes when I've had a few beers. But it's really cool to see the community and how, just a really nice bunch of people. And I'm proud to see what you guys have done, and always happy to come on the podcast. So
thank you very much. We enjoy having you on, and thank you very much as well for doing our advertising for us. If you want to join our free Discord, Mitch has popped that link in the comments. It's also in the description down below. I've also popped where you can follow Charlie in the description down below as well. That's at Charlie Reach PLC on X. There you go, mate. See, it's all right. And join our Discord. Charlie's in there. Like I said, he'll drop the odd incendiary in there, just his rant or an opinion, and then we all get to respond to it and not hear from him for a couple of days. So. As he goes So obviously this is a Draft Crushers episode, but we do like to have a bit of a preamble. And whilst I was at home doing work, looking after a dog, I had a thought, and I put something up on our TikTok and our Instagram about, do we need new uniforms for our 50th celebration? And it sort of led down a bit of a rabbit hole. And I thought, well, what if they're waiting to release these for something else? New ownership, maybe. I thought, what's happening with our contracts? Because everyone, and Mitch, I think you pointed this out, everyone signed to 3 years.
Yeah.
Maximum.
Mm-hmm.
And does that say is a prerequisite from Jody?
Yeah, I've had the thought for a while that if they are considering selling the franchise to somebody else, then it doesn't make an awful lot of sense to have bonuses paid split over long contracts that, you're not going to recoup that in the sale of the franchise. The person coming in owning the franchise will reap the benefit off your investment. So if you believe that the Seahawks franchise will be sold, that definitely is one of the factors that strengthens that. And you mentioned, obviously, no Seahawks players are contracted after 2027. But obviously, if you believe that the 3-year contract is a framework that's been handed to John, then obviously we're where we are now this year, then 2026, 2027, no one really can be. But it is an interesting talking point, and I'd be interested to see where Charlie falls on this.
Because I know just me and Mitch had a quick look at this. On Over the Cap, you can see it. You've got 2026 or 2025 to 27. Obviously, all the players are there. 2027 is when the rookie deals end for this current sort of the newest draft class. And then 2028, there are void years in place for Leonard Williams and Sam Darnold. In 2029, there's a void year for Sam Darnold. Now, I said to Mitch over our little WhatsApp that it's like at 2027, the book is clear. So if someone does come in to buy, they go, well, there's no salary cap to deal with. This is what you got. But I'd be interested to know your take on this.
Yeah, they seem to have had this 3-year maximum contract thing for quite a while now. And they obviously extended DK. It was a 3-year contract back in 2022. There's been talks of 2025 being the year when Jody could first sell the Seahawks. From my understanding, it's going to take at least 2 years for it to go through, even if they start right now. I have no idea the logistics about how it all works, but it's something that's going to take some time. But let's say they are already preparing to sell, and it will be in 2 to 3 years' time. But it makes sense why they're not handing these 4 to 5 year deals. Having said that, we are now seeing a lot of contracts besides quarterback that are signing 3-year deals, and that's not just the Seahawks. I mean, I'm pretty sure Will Fries is the only player who signed a 5-year deal throughout this offseason, and not many have signed 4-year deals either. So it does seem to be a league-wide thing. I think with the cap changing quite a lot recently, I mean, exploding over the last 3 or 4 years, it's strange why they don't want to have these long-term contracts, because you can push money down the line. But I see your point of why certain things are being held back. There's also the case of why haven't the Seahawks, I mean, if John Schneider is privy to information that the Seahawks may be sold in a few years, he should be of a mindset of, when new ownership comes in, I'm gone, because he will be. There's no way, there's very little chance that John Schneider would stay under new ownership, just because new owners will want their own person. And one could argue that John Schneider should have been gone a long time ago. So he should be thinking at this point, I mean, really, I should probably be going all in soon, especially with the Seahawks talent right now. We have a lot of good players, not many great players, and you can flip a few good players for a great player and just go all in, but they're not doing that. So that's interesting to me, and it sort of suggests I'm not sure they are that close to a sale if Schneider is privy to that information.
Interesting. Which then lends me to the fact that if you're not waiting for new ownership, why have we still got the same uniforms that we had in 2012 when they were new?
Yeah,
I think we've been spoiled with UK sport. Obviously, everyone changes their strip sort of every year, every other year. And I've seen rehashes of people like the Texans, even the Bengals have had sort of an uplift, and the Browns have had multiple uplifts, and it's still brown and disgusting, but still they're making an effort, bless them. It doesn't mean that I've still not got to see my dad wear an ugly brown jersey every time we go watch an NFL game. But surely something should be done for the 50th anniversary. This is what I put on our social medias. For the 50th anniversary of being an NFL franchise, you'd expect something bigger than a patch.
Yeah.
Unless there's something else, because I've also noticed, being the Seahawks pro shop hoe that I am, there's a lot of sales on the Action Green jerseys at the moment. So does that mean they're clearing the decks of that for something else to come in, or what? Well, I
don't think they're anywhere close to bringing out a new jersey. All the signs have pointed to that they like this current jersey and they want to keep. It feels like they're going to keep with it for quite a few years to come, unfortunately.
Well, I wouldn't say unfortunately. I think it's iconic. I think it was the first really original and modern NFL jersey when Nike took over. But it's just, I don't know. I want to buy a new jersey.
It just feels time, doesn't it? It feels now we've got Mike McDonald here. It feels like we're in a new era. It feels time to move on to a new jersey. Mike
McDonald's cleared the decks. He's got rid of some like marquee players like Gino, kind of, your DKs, your Lockett's. He's really transforming this, and you're like, here's my stamp. This is what we look like now. This is our identity. But I just wanted to drop that in as a little, starter for this. But the main reason we're here is for draft crushes. Now, Charlie, you have given us a list of 5. And Mitch, I know, is very interested. This is the point in this season, because I've not had a chance to do a lot of my scouting, where I sit back and listen to 2 people with much more knowledge than me. And hope that it's good. So do you want to start us off? Who's your first one?
Can I just say, I love coming on this podcast. I love talking to with you, Josh. But one of the main parts about coming on at this time of year is Mitch is as much a draft psychopath as I am. I remember last year we were talking about I can't remember who it was, Mitch, you'll know. It was some like 7th round player who probably no one had heard of. And you was like, we were speaking about him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, do you know who's got 7 brothers, and we all have the same letter of the first name?" I was like, "Didn't know that one, to be fair, but okay, thank you. I'll add that to my scouting." I don't know who
I love that stuff, though. I think the only reason I've ever taken interest in like birth order and amount of siblings and the way players grew up, is that the Seahawks show interest in that when they were all in on competitiveness and things like that, because it gives you a good indication. Yeah, high character, exactly. And leadership as well. When someone's the oldest and makes it as a professional sportsman, you can almost guarantee that person's got the leadership qualities, the competitiveness. That's such a big couple of ticks for the previous regime, and it probably is still important to John now. So yeah, I always love like digging up those little nuggets. It's fun on the pod, but it is relevant to the organization that we follow. So I love that you remember that as well.
I love the random messages that I get from you. Like, do you know that this draft prospect has this, this, and this? I'm like, I did not know that they had 18 chihuahuas in their family. Thanks.
I love it.
Go on, Charlie.
Yeah.
I was going to say, each one of yours has got to have a little tidbit like that now. Just make it up if you need to.
I think the first one I mentioned was Jalen Walker. He's the Georgia hybrid player. He played off-ball linebacker for most of his career and on the edge towards, I'd say, the second half of last season, really. He sort of split reps between off-ball linebacker and edge. And I just think it's great at both. I think he's scratching the surface of what he can become as an edge rusher. He's 20 years old. I think he's had about 170 reps as a pass rusher. And he's just like incredibly twitchy, really good athlete. He's one of those where he does that thing where he lands with a C gap and just glides over to the B gap so quickly. Really reminds me of Micah Parsons. I know a lot of people say Abdul Carter is like Micah Parsons because, very similar players, both were 11, both played for Penn State. But Jalen Walker to me is one of those players where, and Abdul Carter can do this too, I must say, but Walker is one of those players where he can literally play as an off-ball linebacker and as an edge player rep to rep and just be as good. I feel like Abdul Carter personally should just be an edge player full-time. But yeah, Jalen Walker, he's such a talented player. He's a really good tackler as well. And I think in today's NFL where you're chasing guys like Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, quarterbacks are getting faster and faster. You need a sort of quarterback spy who can sit at Mike linebacker and just hunt down quarterbacks. And Jalen Walker, worst case scenario, if he can't play as an edge rusher, which I think he can, he's going to be great at that. Like, he's going to be really, really good. I think it's my fifth best player overall in the draft. I really like him.
You had me a good tackler.
Josh, so whenever I'm showing like my linebackers at our team, like tackling tape, it's Jalen Walker. Like, his wraps up, eyes through the thighs, like it's just perfect every single time. And and that's really important. That's really important when you play in space, even as an edge player. Like, how many times does Byron Murphy get to the ball carrier of quarterback and not make the play? It's very frustrating. Jalen Walker will not have that problem.
Yeah, and he's sneaky good in zone coverage as well. And we play a system which will want, if we had him on our team, we'd want to put him in his usual spots, but disguise him a bit. If he drops into zone, he's going to be good. If he's stopping the run, he's going to be very good. If he's in a blitz package from an off-ball linebacker spot, you need to really scheme up to stop him on game day. And you're never going to know whether he's going to sit there as an off-ball linebacker or whether he's coming. So, and his closing speed and everything is unreal. So, as a defensive chess piece, you won't find many better. You certainly won't find many more versatile. And the other thing is, you mentioned it, from one snap to another as a rusher, as an off-ball linebacker, he's got an amazing motor as well. If he's out there for 3 downs, you could send him on a blitz. He's going to look electric on the third snap, rushing the passer as well. So, super exciting player.
As a zone blitzer, like you say, you line up in a big gap and then drop into coverage. We see Mike McDonald using a lot of these zone blitzes. He got it on Aaron Rodgers, where Leonard Williams got that pick 6, where you lined up in a B gap and then quickly union hooks to curl, bang, the ball's right here. Jalen Walker is incredible at doing that. He could be incredible at doing that, just because of the raw athlete that he is. And like I say, I'm scratching the surface. He's 20 years old. He's very, very young. super, super twitchy, really fun player, Josh.
You've piqued my interest. Right. I will let you power through at your own pace with these. You two you talk. I like other people that may be watching or listening to this will just be learning.
Okay, I'll ask Mitch this one then. Jihad Campbell. So very, very talented player. But to me, he's more of an athlete than a linebacker right now. He does not read the game well enough for me to be an off-ball linebacker and think, yeah, you're the future of this position. He absolutely could be, right? He could turn into one of the best middle linebackers in the league, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. I'm not sure about his feel for the game. He's more like see ball, get ball, and like I'm a better athlete than you, so I'll win. And that works at college, right? And at some level, it will work in the NFL because he's just so talented. I'm just not sure about his intent, about his, I guess, IQ to read the play and get to where he needs to be. Yeah, it might take him some time, and I'm not as high on him as other people. What do you think?
Yeah, my take on Jihad Campbell. We've had people on the pod when I've said, "Oh yeah, we'll take Jalen Walker at 18 in mocks and stuff," and people have said, "Oh, Jihad Campbell's, is this, is that, is better, or is better at this, or whatever, or a better scheme fit, or whatnot." But for me, they've got similar ceilings. I think Jalen Walker is far more NFL ready, and if you're going to spend a first round pick, especially a mid first round pick on a player, being NFL ready now is quite important. If it was a late first round pick, ceiling and a project I can get on board with if it's a really good ceiling. But their athleticism projects to similar levels. Jalen Walker's going to hit the ground running faster than Jalen Walker's going to hit the ground faster than Campbell, and that really is the major difference to me. I think Jalen Walker's a slightly more polished rusher as well. But yeah, that's my take on it, and for that reason I'd have Jalen Walker over him. Jihad Campbell might be a better scheme fit, but Jalen Walker is definitely going to give impact year one.
Totally agree. Another linebacker. I'm a defensive guy, so I always look at linebackers first. This is a guy who you might hate, Mitch, but you might love. I'm not sure. A lot of people have him as like a 5th round pick. I think that is bonkers. Danny Stutzman from Oklahoma. He's going to be really, really, really good against a run straight away. He might be, if he plays every down, he might lead the league in tackles every year. Like, he knows what's coming before it happens. Technically so sound. When there's a pulling guard, he's going to beat the guard bear every time. He has questions about his coverage skills. It doesn't grade very well as a coverage player, but he runs a 4.5. He runs a 4.52. So, like, man, I can work with that. You can work with that as a coach. A 4.5 speed. He has to clean things up for sure. But the way he plays the run, like the way he avoids blocks well, I'd like him to take on blocks a bit more. I want to see him be the hammer, not the nail, a little bit more. But honestly, he reminds me a little bit of, this is a pretty wild take, he reminds me a bit of a free trial version of Bobby Wagner, just the way he plays the run. Like, he's never going to be Bobby Wagner, but he's like 70% of 80% of Bobby Wagner. And for a 5th round player as is projected, I would take him in the 3rd round, no problem at all. I see him as a Cole Holcomb at the Steelers. He reminds me a lot of him. It's probably a more fair comparison. But yeah, I really like Danny Stutzman.
I've only got one issue with Danny Stutzman, and I don't know whether it's going to be a problem in the NFL, and that is just his change of direction and his hip stiffness makes some people question how well his elite speed translates, because he diagnoses the game really well. He instinctively puts himself in the right spots. He's a tackling machine. In the box, you run away from him. Like, if you run towards him, you're getting nothing. So he is a factor, and he'll contribute immediately. For me, he's round 3. I think he goes round 3. I don't think he gets anywhere near round 5. But I think his instincts, his football IQ, and all of that's really good. He's had some concern. There were some concerns about him tackling in open space, and again, that comes back to the hip stiffness and the change of direction. But if you're putting him in the box, I don't see an issue at all with him just contributing and being a monster for you. And it's not to say that hip stiffness can't be worked on. It might be that you get him in with a proper physio team and development team there at an NFL level, and they can't work on that. So I think he's a massive steal. I said this to Josh before the pod, actually, that with what we resorted to last year, halfway through the season, putting Knight and Ernest Jones next to each other, I wouldn't have said Stutzman was a fit for this defense last year, but we played our best football when we had two essential middle linebackers sat there. Well, that's what he's going to do for you. So suddenly now I do see that as a very good fit.
Yeah, I'm not. I like Tyrese Knight a lot. I'm not completely sold on he is the future inside linebacker alongside Ernest Jones. I want him to be, and he absolutely could be. But I would really like Seattle to hedge and take a linebacker in the 3rd round or 4th round of a compensatory pick. And Stutzman, to me, would be chef's kiss. Like I say, issues in coverage and that hips, like I say, very stiff at times. But with that speed, like, you got something to work with. And you just say, sit in the A gap, outside zones. I mean, he could be really good at that. For the value in the 3rd or 4th round, would be great.
And I think the other thing to mention here is that he was a key man on their defense for years at Oklahoma. He was expected to come out last year, but he stayed. And I said this to Josh. Different bodies in that room, coming in, coming out, and he's been the leader of it. He's been on the pitch and off, leading by example, and he's obviously clearly a really good communicator as well. I think there's intangibles there that people won't pick up on that he could contribute with immediately as well. And he's an unbelievable special teamer with that speed and the way he tackles. He is an absolute demon on special teams. So I'd love that pick, especially for the value you're likely to get as well.
Those like neck braces that linebackers used to wear in like the 80s?
The butterfly collars.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
Cowboy collars, yeah.
A bit like, what's his name? Seahawks guy who was terrible. Brian Boz.
The Boz.
Yeah, the Boz, yeah. he has that sort of aura about him, you know what I mean? He has that, like, 1980s, probably eats beef jerky for breakfast, like one of them kind of guys. Yeah, just a bit absolute psychopath. But I'd love to take him in the 3rd round. Like
do you know, for me, and even when you sent me this list, I started looking at the some of the stuff for him. I was like, I'm gonna have to have a look at some of his tape because he just looks like just an energy giver, like that sort of position. And if he's a captain for 3 years, then he's obviously got the gravitas to be able to command, a defense. But if you're going to take a linebacker like that, where you've got Ernest Jones and Knight, the established, like I said, Knight I'm not massively high on, but he did well for his rookie year. And you take someone like Stutzman in the 3rd or 4th, if you can get him there, sit him behind everyone for a season, improve his coverage, and then let him do his thing the next year. I don't see why that would be a bad pick by anyone standard.
You know when you play Madden and you like create your own player and it's like default player A. Danny Stutzman is like default linebacker A on Madden. He looks exactly like what you think a linebacker should look like to the T. It's quite funny. Look him up.
The measurables. The measurables back that up as well. I mean, if you were designing if you were designing a linebacker, 6'3", 233 pounds is like that nails it for me. Yeah.
Ideal. People would say that's undersized. I don't think so at all.
I mean, Bobby Wagner was what, basically 6 foot or 6'1", right?
Yeah, 6 foot, like 240 was he?
Yeah, that was just his arms as well. Absolute pythons.
Speaking of stiff hips or hip issues, Mitch, my next guy probably has the biggest, not stiff hips, but worrying hips. Benjamin Morrison at Notre Dame. This is an extremely talented cornerback. Insanely good ball production. He had like 9 picks in 30 games or something like that. And you can see why he reads routes so well. He breaks on the ball while he gets his head around. It's a great understanding of the game. He plays press really well, and he's not the strongest. And that's just like him wanting to do it. His 2023 tape is unbelievable, like really, really good. If he had that tape this year, he would be a top 10 pick. The issue is, I mentioned hips. He's had 2 hip surgeries, and for a cornerback, that's kind of everything. Like one of the most important things is hip fluidity. So obviously that is a massive red flag. And I'm not a doctor, so I have no idea where he is on that. But he came back from the first hip surgery and looked fantastic. I mean, he kind of shut down Marvin Harrison. He only I think he had one catch on him. Now, a lot of that was Cal McCord being terrible, but some of it was Benjamin Morrison just being really, really good. If you put him in a cover 2, cover 3 defense, he could be incredible. It's just the hip fluidity, the hips. Like, where are we at that? I see a lot of big boards have him as like the 60th best player. I think that's nonsense. He's either in the top 25 or he's off your board. Like, there's no way you think he's a third round talent. He's not. He's a first round talent, or he's kind of undraftable. I understand why he would go in the third round, but he's not. That's not the talent, in my opinion.
You've made me smirk a little bit here because he's my top 55. He's in my top 55. So you're saying that it's nonsense that people have him as a 60th rated, talent. You've just shot me down. But I think the thing is that talent wise, he probably is far higher, as you say. The hip problems are just. If it was almost any other injury, I'd be less concerned. It's just so crucial for a corner to be able to flip the hips and stay toe to toe with faster wide receivers. I've got a few negatives for him. I don't want to be too critical, but smaller size. Don't think that matters too much to our organisation anymore. We used to be 6'2" to 6'4", didn't we? But I don't think that matters too much anymore. Relies on athleticism at times. Too much. Recent hip injuries are concerning, and I get sealed out too easily on run plays and screens. But he is an absolute thumping tackle, and he's so willing in run support. It reminds me of Spoon, but he's a bit better put together weight wise. I'd be less concerned about him if it wasn't for those injuries. But that downhill tackling style, like laying it into people that dare to come near him, I love it. I'm just going to be worried every time I see it because of the injury. But otherwise, he is so good. He diagnoses plays really quickly. He's cerebral. Yeah. And he doesn't bite on fakes much either. We saw some horror year one moments with Spoon where he got a bit overeager and took the cheese a little bit. But he's a really good player.
Devin Witherspoon plays like he's listening to heavy metal music in his headphones every play. It's just like, I'm going to kill you. And then like sometimes he misses on a tackle. Like,
my guy.
There was that one, it was quite embarrassing actually. I think it was David Montgomery. And he just ran at him, and his technique was terrible, and he got run over. And that's just because he's a madman. He's just like, I'm going to run through you and have no technique. Whereas Benjamin Morrison is the opposite of that. He's a very sure tackler, and whilst he still plays with aggression. By the way, I just want to say I love Devin Witherspoon. He's my favourite player.
just caveat that, yeah.
He's just a bit of a madman who needs to play with a bit more technique and stop being crazy. But Benjamin Morrison, no issues with that. He's a really good tackler. And Mitch, I understand why you would put him 55th, and I think you probably put him there because of the injuries rather than the talent. Yeah. It's if it's just talent alone,
he's first round.
Yeah,
totally agree.
Massive concerns with the hips.
Yeah, completely.
I think when it comes to any draft, when you're looking at your future prospects, if they've had 2 hip surgeries, then the odds are there's going to be more. And let's face it, with the fields these guys play on, the speed and the contact, is that a risk you can take with a first round pick or a second round pick? And it's some of these unfortunate things where you do see people with first round talent that drop down draft boards and drop down the rounds because look at DK. Was first round talent, had that neck injury, and dropped to the second. So if we could pick him up in the second, perfect. But
you might get him in the third. He might even drop to the fourth just because of the injury. We've seen a lot.
Don't stop dangling those nuggets. There's little carrots for us now. Like, ooh.
You see a lot of players who even like injuries that we don't know about, like on draft night, like why is this guy falling? Like he could be one of them who we know why he's falling. But it might even be a point where it's like, I'm not touching him in the 5th round because 2 hip surgeries. But like I said, talent-wise, great.
Remind me of the name. Georgia corner last year, absolute monster, huge. Went to the Eagles in the end. He was predicted to. No, not.
Oh
sorry,
no,
wasn't like
Keely Ringo.
Kelly Ringo. There you go. Yeah, it was a really good example of someone who was expected to go first round, and whatever concern it was, he just fell and fell and fell. And luckily for him, he fell to the Eagles, and he's now got a ring, right? But yeah, it just I was not expecting it because he was such a specimen. He was such a huge contributor to such a successful Georgia team, and for whatever reason, people were just passing on him. Did we ever find out what that was? I forgot. I've forgotten why. I don't know if I ever knew actually why that happened, but it was so unexpected.
I can't remember, but I had him as a second round player, and I think like early second round, it's very fast, like had really good ball skills, and I can't remember why he fell, but it was like the third or fourth round, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was really surprising. Every time we went to the podium to pick, I was like, "Well, this is going to be Kelly Ringo." Nope. Nope. Yeah. So who's your next one, pal?
My next one, who have I not mentioned? Okay, I'll leave him till last because every Seahawks fan talks about him, and rightly so. My next one is one of my favorite wide receivers in the draft, and I have a terrible hit rate on wide receivers. So we don't.
This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, I loved Xavier Get last year. He's not been great, but this one I am more confident on his skills, and it's Kyle Williams from Washington State. He's just, man, an incredible separator. Like, his ability to get open is just incredible. Super twitchy, really good route runner. It's weird because he runs strange routes. Like, there's this one play at the Senior Bowl, and sure you've seen it, Mitch. He runs a fade route, and he takes about 3 seconds to get off a line of scrimmage. Like, what are you doing? And at the Senior Bowl, like, he went up first. I mean, all the receivers started doing these weird like TikTok routes where they would like do this weird dance and then like shimmy, and it's like, it's been 3 seconds. It's been sacked by now. Like, what are you get upfield? Like, you are not helping anyone by doing all that weird TikTok dancing. Like, that is not a good look. And Carl Williams did one of those, but it really annoyed me. Like, a good cornerback is going to put his hands on you and it plays over. But anyway, besides that one play. Really good separating. He had like 14 touchdowns last year, and most of them are just like him getting open super quick. And not only does he get open really quickly as well, once he has the ball in his hands, he's incredible. He's like 9 yards after the catch last year. He's an older guy. He was a 5th-year guy, and he only had 1 year. He was a 1 year breakout guy, a bit like Xavier Legette, who I just mentioned.
It's going well so far.
but like, I don't know, it's really hard to watch Kyle Williams and see what he's capable of and think there is no way this guy's going to be this guy's going to be bad. He's going to be really good. Like, and some of them is like a 3rd or 4th rounder, and that's crazy to me. To me, it's in a second round talent.
I've got him as 3rd/4th, and there's mild concerns with him. The size thing is some people's concern because he's a lighter weight, 5'11", wide receiver. However, we've seen smaller wide receivers for the Seahawks become, 9-10 year veterans and become legends. I mean, one's just left. One's just been cut this year. What I love about Carl Williams is if you are replacing Tyler Lockett as someone that can mix it in the slot, can stretch the field with great speed, really good at separating, like grabbing your first downs, he's superb at it. And if you look at our scheme and what we're lacking right now, a field stretcher, because Marquez Valdez-Scantling isn't going to be the long-term solution. Field stretcher, tick. Someone that can do that and provide depth in the slot, tick. He does both of those. And funnily enough, that play at the Senior Bowl is hilarious to me because one thing he's been extremely good at is quick release, getting open early. He's so quick. And whatever they schemed up for that play, made him look a clown, and it went completely against everything he put on tape in college. So that is an outlier for me, because some coach got a bit creative with the camera on him. But yeah, I think it's really cool to have someone that's versatile enough to be a starter year 2 in both wide receiver spots that we're going to see regularly in these formations. So there's huge value there. And, Washington guy, there's some hometown appeal there as well. So he was at the Cougars, right? So he was a Coug, wasn't he?
Took a Coogan. Dan Vien's going to be happy with this one.
I said it and got no reaction. I thought, have I just dropped an absolute clanger there? No, but yeah, no, I'd love to see it. I think the value you'd get with him is great. I think the versatility, I think the scheme fit, all of it's a match. There's huge upside, and like you say, quarterback's best friend, because he finds the soft spot so quickly. It's going to be a great check down with great yards after catch. So I like it.
I think why he's a bit going a bit underrated. He's kind of like the anti-DK Metcalf, right? DK Metcalf is super like box office. Every play is like, oh wow, that was incredible. Like big catch down the sideline, beat a guy. Like whereas Kyle Williams, quite boring, just gets open in the soft zone, 8 yards here or there. Like it's not box office. It's never going to be like an incredible all-pro wide receiver, but he's going to be really, really dependable and really good. If he goes to the Rams, I guarantee you're getting a 1,000 yard receiver every season with him. He's a bit like, who can I compare him to? Kind of like, who's the Falcons receiver? Darnell Mooney. He's a bit like Darnell Mooney, but like he's going to quietly get 1,000 yards every season, and no one will ever talk about him. Like just a soup, and like I say, a good scheme fit for Seattle as well.
We've had one of those ourselves, haven't we? The underrated wide receiver churning out 1,000 yard. Forgotten about him already.
Could maybe do with him right now, with what our receiver is looking at the minute.
Oh no! Do you know what? I posted something the other day, and Bryce sort of alluded to this with the whole 2 inverted commas slot receivers based on the scheme we're playing. It could be really effective. I'm all for change from a coaching point of view. You know this as well, Charlie. Like if in coaching or in anything in life, if you stagnate, you end up losing. So we need to innovate. And if we're going to innovate, having 2 people that are technically slot receivers, but can still play on the outside and run slot routes, whilst having, I don't know, an athletic tight end or, just a field stretcher in MVS just to keep one side of the clear open. So we've got a lot of slant routes going on. I'm all for it. And I am going to put it out there now. I am overjoyed by the Cooper Kupp signing. If you're going to get rid of one superstar, bring in another one. And Cooper Kupp is a certified superstar at wide receiver, regardless of how injured he's been. Keep him fit, and he will be a game changer for us.
I'm intrigued by Cooper Kupp. I have little confidence that he will be an upgrade over DK. But I think he can be just about as good. And I think with the way Seattle want to play, I'm very interested in how they're going to use Kupp and JSN. Just be interested as someone who likes football, how are they going to use 2 guys who primarily work out of the slot? Having said that, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp ideally are both slot guys, and that worked absolutely fine. So, yeah, I'm interested to see how it works, but we do need an outside guy. Just quickly, a lot of Seattle fans want Matthew Golden, and I see him mocked to us quite a lot. For me, no way. Like, I don't think he ran a 4.29. I think that's wrong. Like, if you watch his tape, he's not a 4.42 guy. He's just not. Like, there's some evidence, there's some videos people put out, like, the times were wrong. I don't know about all that. But he does not look like a 4.2 guy at all. And I wouldn't touch him at 18 personally.
I just don't see the benefit in having 2 first-round wide receivers like that.
No.
Because
not in the way we want to play football.
This is going to be short yardage possession offense. Because if you're going to have those 2 slot, I'm going to keep throwing up the air quotes here, 2 slot wide receivers, they're not going to be going downfield and stretching it. We're going to be hitting the run. We're going to be looking for these 3 and 4 yard gains, and then hopefully get some yards after the catch. That's how our game's going to be. That's for the complementary offense and defense that Mike Mack wants. He wants an offense that can keep his defense fresh and hold on to the ball a bit longer. And he wants a defense that is going to be able to smother people, but you need to be able to be in top form and not breathing out of your hoop to do that. That's where I'm envisioning this going, and I'm hoping it's going to work. Otherwise, I've just got massive egg on my face. People can bookmark this pod.
So the kind of guy you would want, the way you just spoken, Josh, the kind of guy you want us to draft will be my last guy, who I'm sure every Seahawks fan knows about by now. Gray Zabel, North Dakota State. It's just a really, really good offensive lineman. Nasty, zone blocker, finishes plays, moves well in space, pulls really well. Perfect for our zone blocking scheme. He had some bad reps at the Senior Bowl in the 1v1s. He stands a bit wide in his base sometimes. His hands are a bit inconsistent. I think because he played against lower level, maybe had some bad tendencies in his time. But man, his measurables, his tape is just incredible. Really, really good. I would have no problem with picking him at 18. But if Seattle can trade out of 18 and move down to, let's say, 25, 23, 27, and potentially have a choice of Zabel or Tyler Booker, that is just, although Tyler Booker, I'm not sure is scheme fit, but I think that is the best way to go for Seattle.
I like it. There's 3 O-linemen that I really like for the sake of being nasty and having that intent to just beat you into the turf every snap. Membu, Zabel, and Booker. And I think if you look at our O-line at the moment, it's young. I know it's not good, but it is young, and they'll be better coached. But whenever I see them interviewed, or when you watch them on tape, none of them are particularly aggressive, or they're not tone setters. Stick any one of those 3 in there, immediately you've got a bulldog in that line, and it becomes a different animal, that O-line. So I love the Gray Zabel suggestion. I think he's so polished as well. He looks ready to go. The only thing that he has struggled against a little bit is with the smaller, faster rushers. You get a lot of fast rushers in the NFL. In fact, if you're a rusher in the NFL, you pretty much are just fast, because you don't really make it unless you are. But he will struggle a little bit early on, I think, against speed to power because of that base. I think that is going to be a learning curve for him. He's got the shorter arms, which means he can't really project as a tackle at this level, so he is going to be inside. But other than that, I think he's a plug and play, huge improvement and a tone setter, and I love the idea of that being the pick. But like you, I think 18's a touch early.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly if you see us trade back, he is massively on the table.
I just think at this point, I forget his name, the guy who was at PFF, he's now gone somewhere else. Sam Monson. He always said this about the Seahawks, that they don't draft offensive line early. It's just not there. It's not the way they operate. But at some point, it becomes such a need that you just have to operate that way. It is massively holding the Seahawks back that they don't have a good interior line. Massively. If they have an average O-line last season, just average, not even just average, if they have the 20th best O-line last season, they might win 12 games. They might go to an NFC Championship game. Seriously, that is how big of a deal, how bad the offensive line was last year. It was devastating. If you just improve that with one guy, never mind 2 guys, which you absolutely can do, you have 3 picks in the first 52. Go get 2 guys and just spend on it and just see what happens. They might both suck, but at least you've got 2 guys that can say, these guys look great, and they will upgrade us, and they most likely will be an upgrade of Satoa Lamea and Olu, who I think are both fine. I have no No reason to think you're my left guard and center of the future. No, they are serviceable backups, in my opinion.
While we're on Olu, have you read much into the fact that he's transitioning is probably the wrong word, but I'd heard that he was learning the guard position this offseason. I don't know whether that's just to add some versatility, or whether there is a plan there to have him compete at least for that left guard position.
I've not even heard that. As a left guard, especially more so than right guard, you need to be a mauler. You need to be a bullier. That's just not Olu. He's a zone blocking. He's not soft, but he doesn't finish plays, and he doesn't impose his will as a left guard. And
he's not tenacious, is he? He's not got that about him.
He doesn't eat dirt. He doesn't he probably eats flowers. You know what I mean? He's just. I
want to say that to his face.
No, he's beating him absolutely up. Much bigger and stronger than I am, and much better. Yeah, he's a fine centre that eats flowers. I don't know where that came from. But I really struggle, Mitch, to see why a move to guard would be better for him. To me, he's perfect size for centre. And I just don't see it personally. I'm love to be wrong. I'd love to be wrong. I also don't see Christian Haynes. I'm intrigued to see how we'll do in a zone blocking scheme. I just don't think I don't think he's got it in him to be a guard in the NFL. I really, really am concerned about his tenacity, his want to, and his play strength as well. I'm concerned about Christian Haynes.
Like you said, there's a big lack of nasty at the moment. I mean, when you look through the line that we've got, I've the same concerns with Haynes. Obviously, he came from the same type of scheme in college, and he was overjoyed with what was being brought in by Kubiak. But he seems like such a placid man that you can't imagine him every single down on the O-line looking at the D lineman opposite him and going, I am going to shove your face in the dirt. A pancake is what I want every time.
Josh, can you name one offensive lineman for Seattle who does that? Maybe Abraham Lucas. Probably the only one.
Like Abe Luce's got that nasty. I'm sorely disappointed with someone like Anthony Bradford because he came in, he was drafted as an absolute mauler. Like you watch his college tape and he was just eating people, but that's purely due to his size, I think. And he's just seems like a puppy. You get him in pads on a pitch, and that's on my brain, Mitch. But it just seems like all of them just seem a bit soft.
Yeah.
It's like they need to have that coaching from sort of 20 years ago to harden them up, which was less talking about your feelings and talking about how do you hurt someone else's feelings.
Would you say Anthony Bradford also eats flowers, Josh?
Yeah. I'm taking nothing away from Olu. He was an award winner in college. He's obviously a very intelligent player. I just think he's been poorly coached since he's joined, and he's not been brought up to the level he needs to be. Also, he's an incredibly fashionable young man. Just going to put that out there.
That is what
exactly.
Matters.
You know, but really walk into the stadium. You know, you've got to appreciate a big boy with style. Come on,
true.
Let's face it. We can't all wear slim fitting suits.
My favorite Bradford moment so far has been when he missed a few days of training camp. I think it was actually about 6 or 7 days of training camp, and they weren't disclosing what the injury was. But when they interviewed him and asked him why he missed time, he said he concussed himself banging his head on the steering wheel of his Jeep. And that's a guy that we're watching try to beat the pole pat of people, and he's missing time in camp because he's headbutted his steering wheel.
But it's just like, did he have a training session that bad that he was just sat in his car like on one of those like old comedy movies going, stupid man, what are you doing? The next thing you know, he's in A&E. I just love us to draft some nasty. Charlie, have you got any more honourable mentions or anyone else?
I mean, I could go all day, Josh. You know me. I love both tight ends, Mitch. I love Loveland and Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren, to me, is like the perfect Seahawks tight end. inline guy. He can play a bit of fullback. Like he's the perfect. Like Quinn Kubiak would love him. Like probably his first player in the draft. We're not going to get him. He's going to go too early. Colson Loveland, I also really like. He could be Travis Kelce. Like he really could. I just don't think he's a good scheme fit for Seattle. Another slot guy, like a bit redundant in our offense. Although I'd be intrigued to see him play out wide. Even he has that in him.
He's quick enough to do it. He is definitely quick enough to do it. And I agree with you. Tyler Warren fits probably what we're going to expect from our primary receiving tight end. Kind of what we wanted to get from Noah Fant, I think. But Loveland's going to be there when we pick. I think if he's not, he goes just before. I think like his expertise and his tape will show you a slot receiving tight end primarily. And that's probably where we don't need bodies receiving at the moment. But I think what his athleticism could be used for could be a really good fit. And like you say, he could be Travis Kelce. He finds those soft spots in defenses really, really instinctively. And he'll be a blessing for any quarterback, honestly, because he'll give you an option every time. So he needs to work on his blocking. It's not one of these where it's like you can use him for both all the time. When he is blocking, his pass pro is just not good enough.
No.
His pass pro isn't good enough, and his blocking in general just isn't quite good enough for a first round pick, if that's what you're relying on them for. But you are not drafting Loveland to put him in those spots, if you know what I mean.
Have you seen much of Darian Porter, Mitch, for Iowa State cornerback?
Yeah, I spoke about him on the pod a couple of weeks ago. He was one of I did like a good, better, best for each position. And I don't think I had him at best, but in terms of value for talent, I think he was in the better column.
Okay.
I really like him.
That's not even a hot take, probably. I think Seattle should trade Reek Woolen as soon as they can. Like it's time. Like I'm sick to death of such a good talent. He could leave Seattle and be best quarterback in the league. I'm not joking. Actually, probably not, because he doesn't want to tackle. But he's going to want a big contract. Seattle shouldn't pay it. We have to pay Witherspoon. It's too much money on quarterbacks. And his boneheaded plays. It's not even his tackling, which is, I'm sorry, pathetic. But he doesn't want to tackle. He's soft. It's he falls asleep. Like there's no way he should be beaten and on a 9-ball, like he does. Like he gets beaten on silly plays. He's such an athlete, so fast. Just falls asleep. I'm ready to move on. Get a 4th round pick for him. That's absolutely fine with me. And draft one of these cornerbacks like Darian Porter, who, by the way, is quite like Reek Woolen in that doesn't want to tackle. But my word, what an athlete! Like 6'3", not Olympic level, track level sprinter, like super quick. Like he can be Reek Woolen from the jump, maybe even rawer, perhaps. But man, worth taking a stab at him in the later rounds. He's such a good talent.
We said exactly this on the pod probably about 3 weeks ago, right? I said I read out all of my profile on Darian Porter and the not unwillingness to tackle in the run game, but that being a weakness for him. And I planned it out to say it that way, just so Josh would be like, "This sounds like Reek Woolen." But there is a caveat to that, and the main reason that I think Darian Porter can be a better fit for the Seahawks than Reek Woolen is the fact that he is far more. He diagnoses a play well. He doesn't get lost early in the snap. Reek Woolen relies on his athleticism to catch up with the play when he gets beaten early. Darian Porter's stickier, and he runs routes for people as well at times. That is an incredible difference because he's got everything else athletically, but he's not reliant on it to save him. He's using it as a weapon. So that is the reason I like Darian Porter more than Reek Woolen for us. That's the key difference, I think, that projects that ceiling.
Charlie had me at trade Reek Woolen because I've been banging that drum for a while now. I cannot deal with anyone who plays a contact sport and refuses the contact element. It's been proven since his second year that he refuses to tackle. His technique's awful. He won't improve. He put on mass and went, oh, that'll help. No, it doesn't, mate. Also, the fact, like you've both said there, he falls asleep and then relies on his pure athleticism to make up for his failings. But this is the NFL. Everyone else is athletic. Some people are also more intelligent. So whilst you think you're catching up to them, all it's going to take is a step and they've lost you. I'm over the Requillen experiment as well. I thought first year, brilliant. But since then, it has just been, in my opinion, a steady downward slope. Even though last year, he had 3 interceptions, that's not good enough for someone who was so highly regarded. I can't. No. Yeah. High fives all round for trading Requillen. Well, we've done a lot of draft talk. We want to get onto a mock draft. But before that, we've had a lot of people comment, and I just want to whiz through some of these as well, because you don't need a super chat to comment and have it read out on this pod. We're a community podcast by 12s, for 12s, with 12s. So I'm going to go through some that I've highlighted, and I want to get people's reactions. So first up, Jonas, our German Seahawker, one of our German Seahawkers watching today. Seahawks President Chuck Arnold on March the 8th said, according to Bob Condota, that there won't be any jersey changes for a while. We love our current uniforms. Thank you for dashing my dreams, Jonas. And then we've got Yannick. I'll take a new jersey, but please don't change it as often as I do in football. I can't buy kits for the Seahawks and my normal football team every year. I've not bought a Blackburn Rovers shirt for well over a decade. There's a reason.
Oh. Yeah, I was going to say, wonder why.
Yeah. So Dogzilla Monster, my dream is for Membu or Ty Warren to fall to 18.
Yeah, keep dreaming, Dogzilla, unfortunately. I agree. Like, that is... Membu is my 6th player, I think, overall. Such a good player, man. For me, though, Mitch, just quickly, I think he's a tackle. I'm not sure what you think on that.
I think it depends entirely on the scheme of the team that picks him. I think there's a reason the 49ers are... I don't think he gets past the 49ers. People look at him as, heir apparent in for the 49ers, and he fits their scheme. They can get away with a smaller lineman or shorter arms, or they can get away with that. Certain other teams couldn't. If we were to take Membu, I don't think he plays tackle at all. He is interior all day. But yeah, I think it just comes down to that. I certainly agree with you that he's not far enough off to be pigeonholed into guard only in the NFL level. It will be scheme dependent.
Excellent. And much in the vein of, I think this started last week with random comments coming in that are completely off topic. I don't know if you watched last week's, Charlie, with Bryce, but we had someone coming in talking about how much they're desperate for a man. This one's not of that vein, but as you are a sports reporter, Dogzilla's also asked, off topic, but since you're a UK guys, what's up with Jim Ratcliffe at Man U? And do you think he'll fund America's Cup yacht racing campaign? Let's divert from football. Go on, just a really quick one. Is it? If anyone knows, I have no idea.
So I used to cover Man United before I became an NFL reporter, and I can't tell you which player it is, but one of the players who's still there now leaks things to the same journalist, and I won't tell you the name of the journalist either because it'll be obvious, every week. And if you notice with Man United, there are always a leak coming out about absolutely everything, and it's always this one player. Like, yeah. With the Jim Ratcliffe stuff, if you watch his interview with Gary Neville, oh my word, he's just so... Jim Ratcliffe he's so far off it. Like, Gary Neville was just spitballing ideas, and Ratcliffe was like, "Oh, that's a good idea. I should have thought about that." Like, I mean, yeah, you probably should have thought about that, really. He's a billionaire company, one of the biggest football clubs on the planet. Like, it's just, yeah, the way he's running the club is bizarre, alienating staff, players unhappy, no culture on the field. Like, yeah, they are in a bit of a struggle.
And he's not going to sponsor the America's Cup. There you go. Off topic, but service to our viewers. So thank you very much there. Yannick, oh, this is to me. Learn just the important things when I said Angrosball or Baltuta. Yes, I can order beer. I can say hello. I could ask for a cigarette when I smoked, and I could partially chat up a girl. Not very well. All right.
In English as well, right?
Jonas, how's Dog Baldwin? He's brilliant. Thank you. I mentioned the dog, and that's it now. Here we go. Jonas again. So for him, Gray Zabel, Donovan Jackson, or Ken Grant at 18 would be ace. Campbell, Walker, and Emawari would be luxury picks the Seahawks currently can't afford with this roster, in my mind.
Just quickly on Ken Grant, not for me at 18. He's best play. He's 340, whatever he is, and he's not really very good at stuffing in the middle. He's kind of best at winning with speed and like knifing into the backfield, which leans him more to be a free tech. I'm not sure about him as a nose tackle moving forward. I didn't really see dominant tape at Michigan. I'm unsure about him as at 18. I mean, no way for me at 18 personally.
I think it would be a functional pick in the respect that putting him next to Byron Murphy is going to get more out of your previous first-round pick. But if you're using first-round picks to make your previous first-round pick look better, you're probably fighting a losing battle, to be honest. But I would see why they'd want a player like that. But I certainly don't think an 18th pick with the other needs we've got and the players that are going to be available that Ken Grant will be the pick. If he falls and we've traded back, I could see that being great value. But I can't look past Emanori. Every time I watch Emanori's play and his highlight reel, it just that for me is my dream 18th pick. So
Seattle fans will love him as well.
I know.
I'm kind of in love with him after what Mitch has sort of sent me to look at. But yeah, I think the Ken Grant pick is basically just like putting a plaster on a plaster. So if you've signed Byron Murphy as a first round pick to try and bolster that D line, and then you sign Ken Grant to try and make him look good on the D line as well, that's kind of a pointless pick, right? So Peter has responded to Jonas. We have no idea really what McDonald values, but the Ravens spent picks and trades on high linebackers and safeties. I like Jones and Knight, but not sure I'd agree. They can't afford any position. I would completely agree with that. I think the first round is going to be BPA for that's what I think. Dogzilla again. I can't read that. John Schneider mentioned a Shimagagi for the new linebacker. Oh, right. Oh, no, that was on the radio show. Right. I read that. I was like, oh my God, am I having like a stroke? Gary says Boz was a good player until injuries killed his career. Boz was a cult icon for a lot of reasons, but unfortunately not his footballing play for the Seahawks.
Have you seen that play where Bo Jackson
runs him over? It's embarrassing. That being said, you know what? I would have a Boz jersey for the irony, and you know, I've actually conversed with him on social media. He seems like a nice guy, but I just want to mention his football career. Peter again, 2 slots sounds good, but who do you think is an athletic tight end? I think we've covered this, considering that MVS misses massive time and is very inconsistent. Well, Noah Fant, athletic tight end, but in the draft.
Just quickly, I can't believe they've kept Noah Fant at his 13 million cap hit when you can save 9 of it by releasing. I'm really surprised. John Schneider loves Noah Fant, and he's not produced for us. I mean, I guess we'll give him a 4th year to see if he can finally produce, but I feel like Noah Fant has shown us who he is. Like, the idea of Noah Fant is better than Noah Fant. But you know what I mean? Like, he's super fast, and he should be great, but he's just not. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Great in theory, not in practice.
Well, as an athletic tight end, Tyler Warren and Costin Loveland, both great. I also quite like the Miami kid, Arroyo.
I think Mitch has mentioned him before as well.
Yeah, I like Arroyo as well. Where do you stand on Mason Taylor, LSU? Sorry, I've plunged myself into darkness.
Not so really good short shuttle. If I'm remember correctly, I've not watched him very much, but his tape is just okay to me. Like, I don't look at him and think like, oh, he's a difference maker. I feel like he's just going to be another okay tight end. Like, probably a bit like Noah Fant, a totally different player, more of a blocker. But I don't really love him much, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he does all the things you expect him to do well. I think he's well rounded and balanced. If we're drafting a tight end to be a tight end one, it's going to get expensive in this draft in terms of capital spent. And if you don't get one of those in the first or second, and you're trying to fill out that tight end room, is a viable option.
Well, he's like Mitch. He's getting first round buzz.
Yeah, I know. I've seen, and it's mad to me, but he's polished. He's just not exciting. Yeah. It's a bit similar to what's his name from the Washington Cougars, Carl Williams. He's not gonna sell jerseys. He's not gonna get out of your seat, but he's gonna continually do stuff really consistently. So
I think my comparison is John O. Smith, like just a quite good tight end who was never going to be great. I just don't want to spend the first or second round pick on him personally.
No, I agree with that.
Nice. Right, a couple more then, and they keep flooding in, but we haven't got time to go through everyone. But if you do want to keep commenting on this, by all means, join our Discord. Mitch has already put the link in the comments. Jonas, in Jalen Sundell, the Seahawks already have Zabel's old NDS teammate on the roster who JS seems to value very highly as an O-liner. And there's a lot of talk. He played tackle and center, didn't he? He's basically played all across the line. And there's talk that they are extremely high on him and want to try and get him as a starter like this season. So
I thought he looked quite good last year.
I don't think there was no glaring cock-ups, which as a rookie, was he UDFA?
Yes.
Yeah. Rookie UDFA, that's all you can ask for. You know, don't be on the tape for the wrong reason. Right. So, Peter, but if we can't trade back, still Zabel, Booker, or entirely different position and wait till the 50s. So, if we can't trade back from 18...
I'd go BPA.
Agreed. I'd rather add strength to strength, than just take a swing at an O-lineman because everyone thinks that we do need O-line, but this draft class is so O-line heavy, you don't need to punt on the number 18 pick.
I was just going to, off the back of that, I was going to ask Charlie if there's I think I already know the answer, but which offensive lineman do you think could fall to 18 that you'd run to the podium for? And there's two names I think that you'll snap off here, but maybe there's one that you think.
So I think Membu is ideally an offensive tackle, but he's also, in my opinion, the best guard as well. It's just I think his ceiling is a lot higher at tackle, so I would take him. I don't like Will Campbell at all. Like I think he's a second round player. So I guess I would say Membu.
Banks?
Yeah, probably Kelvin Banks. But again, I do think he's more of a tackle as well. I don't think he could play guard, but I think he projects to the tackle. So I'd probably say Kelvin Banks, but it'd be very close with Gray Zabel. In fact, no, not Gray Zabel, because I wouldn't run to a podium for him. Mm-hmm. So it would be Member and Banks.
Nice. And then the last one. Why do you think Olu was PFF's top 2 run blocker for 2 different college seasons, but it's not working now? Coaching at the professional level. Anyone who's taken the step from youth sport to adult sport will tell you it's a big step up. And if you're not coached correctly, you can't take that step. It's very much a matter of fine-tuning the basics, making sure your body's right, making sure your mind's right. And if you take that step, you can be a big fish in a small pond. But as soon as you get into the ocean, there are bigger fish. And unless you're equipped to deal with them and carry on progressing, you'll stagnate, like we were saying. I think that's my issue with it.
I can see that. I do think his game, because he's a smaller guy, translates better to college than the NFL. And I think that is his biggest issue right now, play strength. Like, he grades well as a pass blocker, I believe, better than a run blocker in the NFL. And that's just because he's a pretty good athlete for his position. Run blocking is just not being there, and that's play strength, I think. Yeah, sure. We've had bad offensive line coaching for a while now. Could be an issue. Do I think Benton and Denison are going to save Dave Olu? I don't. I'll happily be proved wrong. But I do think that's what John Schneider is leaning on, which scares me a little bit.
Yeah. Go on, Mitch, before we get to the mock.
Yeah, I was just going to say I agree with what you've both said there, and I think he was far better suited to a college. He was far better suited to college football, mostly because he's got such a squat sort of stature and such a good anchor. He was able to just stay put and be a force in the center of that line. At the NFL level, bigger, faster. It was, and also in run blocking, being hard to move doesn't help you when you suddenly need to be mobile and aggressive and strong. He was just an immovable object, and he was a great communicator and a really good leader. There were things there that made him excel. At the next level, you just need more. And to your point, Josh, that's where the coaches come in to build on that foundation, and it hasn't happened. So that's my take on Olu as well.
All right. Well, this is the bit everyone's been waiting for. Let's get to the mock. Let's add this here. I do apologize. This trying to use the new. Is it that one? I think so. Bosh. There we go. So we are again going to be using Walk the Mock. If you want to try Walk the Mock, you can. You can use code 12Talk and get 20% off for the full subscription, which is what we use here. Now, we're going to go vanilla because otherwise we'll get into the whole trading back scenario and it all gets a bit messy. So, and Charlie, as the guest, you have the final say on all of this. To be honest, you have the only say.
The power.
Okay. Charlie Schneider, here we go, to the draft room. Hang on, I best put my glasses on for this because the writing's quite small and I'm getting old. There we go. All right, so let's get started.
Good Lord.
Oh,
why does it happen every time?
Okay, yeah, we're taking Tyler Warren, thank you.
Not Jalen Walker? No,
I love Jalen Walker, but the upside of Tyler Warren here is too much to pass.
Yeah, so if Tyler Warren falls to 18, he's a Seahawk. Bosh. That was a nice, easy one. Quick, rapid fire. Lots going off the board here now. So,
okay. I'm not touching any of those 5 names that I can see in front of me there. If you can just scroll down.
Williams, Milrow.
No, I do like Tyreek Williams. I just think we can get better value when a run stuffing free technique here. Can we keep is any interior lineman?
Isaiah Bond, I think, is an interesting prospect.
Yeah, me too. I'm just not sure again for the value here. I don't love any of these offensive linemen. Let's go D line.
D line. There you go.
Oh,
would you like edge in there as well?
Every one of these that we've done, by the way, when someone goes, "Can we go D line?" It reminds me of, "Can I have a vowel and a consonant?"
Does that make me Carol Vorderman then?
Yeah, that does. Promotion.
Yes. Let's go edge and let's go linebacker.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to take Carson Schlesinger.
Yes, I was exactly. I'm
Mitch's
happy.
Man.
I love him.
I love him as well. He is a one year guy, 1 year wonder a little bit, but man, his tape is great. Like I have no doubt in my mind that he'll be an upgrade over Tyrese Knight, which isn't. We don't need an upgrade over Tyrese Knight. I think he was good last year, but Ernest Jones and Schlesinger is really exciting in my opinion.
There you go. And now with our pick 21 of the second round, where are we going now?
Okay, let's go. Can I look at quarterbacks, please?
Oh, you can.
Oh, so do I? I really like Dylan Gabriel.
I was going to say, so you sent us a message with an honourable mention about Dylan Gabriel. So by all means, take a minute. Tell us why.
He's really good. I don't know. Like
he's
I think a lot of people have a lot of like preconceptive notions about him, but like he's not a very good athlete and he's got a noodle arm because he's left-handed, a bit like Tua. Like No, like he's got a cannon. Like he can throw the ball downfield. He can run away from linebackers. Like I don't know. Like he's played like 64 college games and he's played them very very well. Like he absolutely could be terrible. Like he's not. I don't see superstar upside at all. But I don't know. Like worst case scenario, he's going to be a really fine, dependable quarterback, in my opinion. I'm not going to take him here. It's just too early. But I do like Dylan Gable in the third round.
What's humoured me greatly is we're just discussing picking a quarterback, and Bryce Coots has literally just popped up in the chat. It's like rubbing the lamp. It's just talk quarterbacks on a podcast, and Bryce Coots just pops straight into the chat. Love it.
Okay, let's. Can you? Okay. I don't love any of these. Can we go D-line again?
We can. Do you want D-line and edge, just to give you a bit of variation there?
Yeah, let's go Alfred Collins, and I'm going to bank on him being a nose tackle for me. Don't really love it, but I think he can. If he can put on a few more pounds, get to like 330, I think he can do a real job at two gapping for us.
Like it.
There you go. Right. So round 3, pick 18. What are we thinking?
Can we go? Oh, Wyatt Millen's just gone. Can we go the guards, please, Josh?
Yep.
Okay. Oh wow, has Tate Ratledge gone? I think he has, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I just take?
Do you not like Fairchild? Have you got concerns there?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think he's going to be okay. Let's go Jake Majors.
Jake Majors.
Yeah, he's the center at Texas. Really, really dependable. He's an Olu upgrade. He's not going to be amazing. He's just a really sound player. Let's go Jake Majors. He's a leader as well.
Like it.
I've not really got the offensive line players that I would have wanted, so I might have been sacked by now.
So that or you'd have all the Seahawks fans coming for you with touch and pitchforks. Yeah. Right, so here we are in round 4, pick 35. You could have a running back in Cam Scatterboo, Gunnar Helm as tight end, Birch is there, Kennard, Darian Porter.
So our next after this, okay, I'm going to take a player who I think is very underrated. If you watched LSU play South Carolina this past year, Kyle Kennard was dominating Will Campbell. Like he was beating him quite consistently. It's another edge player that we don't really need, but I do think Boye Mafe or Derek Hall will be gone after this season. So I'm going to add another edge player and get Kyle Kennard.
I do think they'll take an edge, by the way, an out-and-out edge, because we like to have, 5 on the roster?
Yes.
Yeah. Because we traded for Gibson, didn't we, last season when Taylor went. So I think they will try and get back to that number. So I think we'll pick one out. Oh, no, sorry, come on.
So I can say we've got a few comments coming in. The O-line fading away, receiver.
I should have got an offensive lineman earlier. Yeah. What I'm thinking. Can we go look at that position now, please, Josh and Taylor again?
Yeah.
I mean, I quite like Willie Lampkin.
Pretty sure it's been taken in some of our others as well.
Yeah, I'm going to take Willie Lampkin. I do quite like him. I don't feel great about it, but let's take him. I think he'll be dependable. Oh, Clay Webb's an interesting one. He's just gone. Great.
Right.
Okay. IOL again, please, Josh. He's there. This is quite. I'm going to take Clay Webb.
Okay. Senior out of Jacksonville State. And here we are now. So, was it round 5, pick 37?
Yes, go to quarterback, please, sir. Oh! So, I have a round 2 grade on Tyler Shough. In my opinion, he's going to go in the second round as well. NFL teams 100% like him a lot more than the media do. He makes some absolute boneheaded mistakes, Josh. Like there's this one play, I think it was against Stanford. Like he's getting blitzed, and he just literally throws the ball up into the air, like literally underhand throws it and gets picked off. And it is the worst play you'll ever see. But and he is like 29 years old.
He's a top 30 visit as well for us.
Yeah, he's 26, I think. He's had a lot of injuries, a lot of red flags about him. But Tyler, I think he's going to be a good quarterback. I really like his upside. So we're going to take Tyler Shook here.
Okay. So we have got 2 picks left, both in the 7th round.
Okay.
And we haven't got a wide receiver yet.
That's fine.
What are you thinking?
Can you show me the running backs, please, sir?
Oh.
You literally are being John Schneider here. We need a wide receiver. Show me the running backs.
Okay, my guy has gone for running back. So yeah, we'll have a look at wide receivers then, please.
So we don't need a wide receiver or a running back. We've got John Reese Plumtree. He can do it all anyway.
Okay. Okay, I'm not sure why Jalen Lane is still available, but sorry, Kyle Williams is available. Thank you very much. We'll take Kyle Williams.
That was nice and easy.
Full cycle in this pod. Like it.
Okay. With the Seahawks.
Let's have a look at this. Safeties, please, Josh.
Ooh. Free and strong.
Over to free, please. Strong, sorry. If you can go over to all, I might just go best player available here in the 7th round.
And it's not a wide receiver.
I don't like any of these. Can we go down a little bit, please?
Of course we can.
No, keep going. No. Do I just go? Keep going, please. Let's go Joshua Gray. Quite like him at Oregon State.
Four interior O-linemen. It's going to be a whole new line.
Battle it out. Best man win.
Excellent. Great mock. So for those listening, let's just go through it. So Charlie's Seahawks mock draft. With pick 18, he's got Tyler Warrentine out of Penn State. In the 2nd round, pick 18, he's got Carson Schlesinger, the linebacker out of UCLA. And then pick 22 in the 2nd round, he's got Alfred Collins, D-line from Texas. He double dips into Texas with 3rd round, pick 18, with Jake Majors, interior O-line. Then we have pick 28 in the 3rd, Cal Kennard, edge from South Carolina. Pick 35 in the 4th, Willie Lampkin, interior O-line from North Carolina. So he's a fan favorite at the moment on these pods. You've then got pick 34 in the 5th round, Clay Webb, interior O-line from Jacksonville State. Pick 37 from the 5th round, Tyler Shook. Weird spelling of that word. Quarterback from Louisville. And then in the 7th round, pick 7, he's got Kyle Williams, wide receiver from Washington State. And then, so pick 18 in round 7, Joshua Gray, interior O-line from Oregon State. Let us know how you thought that was, guys. I am going to save that, and I'm going to, at some point, put all of these mocks up on our social medias because I want to see what everyone thinks about them. I'm going to get other people to grade them. So, Charlie, thanks so much for coming on again, mate. This is always a blast having you on. Hopefully, you'll come on for our pre-draft party pod. We'll be having some cocktails and beers and talking draft. There'll be lots of other people coming on to give us their favourite mocks. But before we go, do you want to tell everyone where they can find you?
Thank you. Yeah, it's always good coming on, speaking draft with you guys and NFL in general. Yeah, I'll hop in on draft night. I'll be working. I'm not there, unfortunately. One of my colleagues is going there instead.
Same as last year.
I know. I'm definitely going to Pittsburgh next year. I'm definitely doing Pittsburgh next year. But I usually get some nuggets last year. I think I told you guys that we're going to get Penix. Was that right?
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully I'll have a few more nuggets for you guys. But yeah, Mirror US Sports at Charlie Reach PLC on Twitter, where you can find me.
Perfect. And you can find us on pretty much every bit of social media because we love a bit of it. We've got TikTok, Instagram. There's a Facebook page that you can follow. You can like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also find us on Spotify, Amazon, and Apple. Anything you do, comments, likes, shares, anything on social media really helps the algorithm and pushes us up. Like I said, we are the official podcast of the UK Seahawkers. I'm very proud of it, and we really want to get more of us on. You can join our free Discord. Mitch pops the link in the comments. It's also in the description thing down below. And you can join people like Charlie, who pops in randomly with some nuggets, like telling us that Atlanta are taking Penix before it happens. And if you want to use Walk the Mock for your mock drafts, use code 12Talk, get 20% off, and you can do all this too. But thank you once again, Charlie. I've really enjoyed this, and I'm going to go to sleep now, contemplating your mock and doing a bit more research.
Yeah.
Are you gonna look back on it when I post it on X and be like, oh, I shouldn't have taken him there.
I should have taken Tate Ratledge. I should have taken this guy. Yeah.
So it's basically what John Schneider probably does after every single draft.
Nah, John Schneider goes, oh, LJ Collier, boom, let's go.
But from me, from Mitch, from Charlie, we'll say thank you to everyone who's jumped in the comments and sort of interacted with us. It's always a great time. We'll be back next week with another great guest doing another round of draft crushes. And from all of us, go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.